The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by the UMass 5 College Credit Union, dedicated to creating access to financial well-being for local people, businesses, and communities. Insured by NCUA, umass5.coop.
Welcome to the Fabulous 413. I'm Khalees Smith.
And I'm Monty Belmonte. Later in the show, we watch a torch pass hands as Claire Higgins and Lev Ben Ezra join us to talk about the change of leadership at Community Action Pioneer Valley.
And Word Nerd Emily Brewster, senior editor at Merriam-Webster, has us look at the English language through an Arabic lens to see where the two intersect.
But first, the stinkiest festival with the cleanest mission happens this weekend in the sleepy east of wooded Western Mass.
Not just to paraphrase the Pixies, but to teach folks about allium, sustainability, and more.
We're in Orange, which is pushing the limits of the Fabulous 413.
No, it's not. It's in Franklin County. It's totally fine just because they have a different area code. They're one of the 4978 we get to claim.
We are here now because it's the 27th annual Garlic and Arts Festival here in Orange, and we're here with one of the founders from Seeds of Solidarity, Deb Habib. 27 years, and it's happening on the 27th and 28th this coming weekend.
Oh, we're squared.
The festival that stinks, the Garlic and Arts Festival, that's the hook. Garlic and arts, but there's always been a greater mission to this festival. Can you talk about the genesis of this event?
Well, I'm going to actually plug in North Quabbin Garlic and Arts Festival.
Aha!
There we go.
Because that's part of the genesis. The genesis was 5 people who were farmers and artists in this very community saying, hey, we're all leaving to go sell our farm products and art elsewhere. We need something here. Why don't we each chip in $20, which was $100 total, and start a festival? And that was 28 years ago, really, because we had to do the planning.
What was remarkable about it is it's a celebration of agriculture, and we're here with Steve Taranto from CISA, the local hero folks, who are always talking about local farming, but your role with CISA again is?
I'm the climate program coordinator at CISA.
And this week is a special week for CISA.
Yes, it's very special. This is our annual Climate Change in Farming Week. This is the 3rd year we've held this event, and it's an opportunity for not only CISA, but a lot of organizations and farms in the area to highlight the solutions that they're putting into place to deal with this climate crisis and the extreme weather and other kinds of changes that come with it.
And that's always been one of the missions of the Garlic and Arts Festival as well, not just talking about the celebration of local agriculture, but trying to take the next steps into a more sustainable future.
It's true. And sadly, honestly, if we had called this a sustainability festival from the start, we would probably not get 8,000 people through over the weekend. But, it's like the festival that stinks, North Quabbin Garlic and Arts. And then there's this sub-theme, this internal curriculum, this strong set of values that are all about teaching people in a loving way about this beautiful earth that we live on. And so we're headed right now for, as we walk the festival field on a setup day, to the portal to the future.
The portal to the future? Great Scott! Is it a phone booth that we can travel in, like Bill and Ted?
Let's try.
Excellent!
Bring us to a positive future now.
Well, what's interesting to me, it is depressing when you think about the state of things climatologically in so many ways. However, Deb, you drove here in an electric car today. I drove here in an electric car today. Stephen drove here in an electric car today. Janice, who is joining us, drove here in 2 electric cars somehow. I don't know how you drive 2 cars at the same time.
It's me. I'm the problem.
No, but the fact is that 27 years ago, that would have seemed like magic or something. It would have been something we hoped for, but that was not a possibility when this festival started.
It's true, and many of us are charging our electric vehicles on solar electricity at our own homes. And
Like
there
me.
will be a full EV tent here where people can come and learn from the owners as part of the festival as well.
And sustainability is built into this festival. The first thing that really blew my mind about it was how little trash an 8,000 person festival generates. How many bags of trash will go to a landfill at the end of this festival?
Guess.
One.
Oh, come on.
0.
2.
But that's always the way that it's been even since it began. You were like the first people I'd ever heard of using compostable plates and forks and things like that. But Janice Kurkowski, who's here with us, who you go by Edie?
I go by Edie when I'm at the festival.
We should call you EV.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Let's do that.
Hi, yeah, my husband and I joined the festival. We met Ricky at a Earth Day event in Amherst.
And Ricky is Deb's husband who's walking over there putting up orange fencing.
And he said, why don't you, because my husband's an electrician and he's been installing solar since the mid-'80s or something. Anyway, he said, can you bring a little bit of like sustainability information to the festival? And we're like, oh yeah, we live in Warwick. It's not that far to travel. And we're like, yeah, we can do that. So we started to invite speakers on like wind power and solar power and water power and things like that way back then. And then I do the invitations to the speakers, and then I realized it's kind of boring. Well, no, it's interesting. It used to be really on the edge, cutting edge, back then. And now it's like, ho-hum, I've got 3 people in a solar workshop. That's not going to happen. So let's call it local living and renewable energy. And we started inviting people, along the theme of skilling up for an uncertain future. Any tricks to raising chickens? How about making kimchi? Natural fermentation and skilling up. And so those are really well attended, raising bees for honey, pollinator workshops, turning your lawn into a field, things like that. So we have
Dowsing this year.
Yes, dowsing for water.
I love that.
Yeah,
Witchcraft in action.
I mean, we went to a farm where they used that to put their water lines in. It's so cool.
You did?
Well, yeah, we did early on. And I have to say, as people know, we're farmers. We have Seeds of Solidarity Farm down the road from the festival site. And that deep artesian well with a high recharge rate found by a dowser has been essential to our ability, in addition to the no-till regenerative methods that we use, to get us through this really rough drought season.
Yeah, we've been in major drought right now. I bet, Stephen from CISA, you're hearing about this from a lot of farmers. Is this being tied into your climate change and farming week? The fact that we have huge floods in 2023, kind of a normal 2024, but 2025, it hasn't rained practically since June.
Yeah, exactly. And last year we also had what's called a winter drought. We didn't really have precipitation between October and April of last year. Very little snowfall. So it's really becoming a problem for farmers. And here in New England, a lot of farmers have not invested in irrigation equipment. So it's a challenge when we get these dry periods. But yeah, that's the kind of thing that this week is all about, because we have a lot of events out on farms where people can see and ask farmers and find out what they're doing. There's all kinds of solutions going on out there to keep some food security here locally, and Climate Change and Farming Week is just about going out and seeing those solutions and giving farmers some attention and some appreciation for what they do, because it is really, really hard to farm under these extreme conditions that we're seeing.
It's hard to farm regardless. It's extra hard to farm in these conditions.
Exactly.
One of the things that's interesting about this festival, apart from only 2 bags of trash for 8,000 people, is the way that you are powering the festival as well this year. And we mentioned our electric vehicles pulling in here. How will the sound and lights and whatever else will be here be powered, Edie, from the North Quabbin Garlic and Arts Festival?
So this year, there's a Chevrolet dealer, Salvador Chevrolet in Gardner, is going to bring 2 fully outfitted electric Silverados. Hopefully they won't sell them before.
So you're going to power the whole festival with
Go
2...
buy one, please.
Wait until Monday.
Here, buy one.
You're going to power the whole festival
Buy it on the 29th and still get your rebate.
off of 2 Chevy trucks?
No. So there are parts of the festival that are way away from the barn where the grid is.
Okay.
So those remote places, like there's a Thai food truck. They have lots of refrigerators and things like that, and they're way down here. So we'll just park a Chevy Silverado next to them. The Chevy could power a normal home for days. So people put battery banks in their basement, for 10 grand. I'm like, just buy an electric car. You've got 6 or 10 times the amount of batteries in a rolling battery bank.
And you can also drive it places and help your friend move.
Sorry, and PV Squared for many years have, and they will bring again, they have a portable trailer with batteries inside and solar panels, and they'll power the main stage. And there's a whole dance that's going to happen, juggling which vehicle is powering which venue. But we have, spoken word needs a, microphone. I need a projector microphone and laptop down here.
We've also got this crazy resourceful neighborhood with people who make a lot of their own stuff. Another neighbor who runs an organ shop and is also a solar installer, Stefan, will probably bring one of his rigs that can power things. So it's pretty cool.
That's been part of the basis of this festival in general. The last time we were here, we were talking with you, and all of these neighbors showed up to put in the fencing and put the straw down for the paths and things. It's all about community effort, this entire festival.
It is. That's basically what's happening now. And a number of the people on the field working up at the top there today are exhibitors, because we try and keep not only the admission really low and accessible, but we also want it to be affordable for the exhibitors, because the whole idea is this is to support people in our low wealth community who are artists and farmers. farmers. So they all chip in, and all of us organizers are volunteer. The whole thing is nonprofit. Anything left over from setting it up gets making sure we can have a festival the next year, and then mini grants within the North Quabbin region for food, energy, well-being.
We are in Orange, the home base of this weekend's 27th annual North Quabbin Garlic and Arts Festival, with one of the festival founders from Seeds of Solidarity, Deb Habib, Edie Janice Kurkowski, who is taking us to the portal to the future, I believe, very shortly as part of this festival, and Stephen Taranto, who is from CISA and who is celebrating, I guess, their Climate Change and Farming Week. One of the things that's going to get powered this weekend is Khalees Smith.
Yeah, we're playing this festival.
Who's we?
My band Extemper is playing on Sunday, so everybody who's been complaining about me singing off tune in our promos can see that, no, I do actually sing well.
Well, let me just pause to defend Khalees here for one moment. Khalees always sings, or where you get your podcasts, at the end of our little promos, and some people say she's singing off key. There is no key to be singing off to.
It's tuneless, not off key.
Anyway.
Because there's no music.
Wait till you see Extemper. Can I say rule?
Yeah, because
I'll bleep myself out, yes.
So I told Ricky to wait around because we're going to move the earth.
What does this mean, Deb Habib? You keep saying we're going to go to the portal to the future and we're going to move the earth.
And it sounds awesome.
Is Carole King coming?
I feel the earth move.
I feel the earth move under my feet.
No, we have to move it with our hands. We can't be Carole King. She moves the earth with her feet.
Well,
This archway, beautiful archway, built by another volunteer, will be here. And you will enter the portal to the future.
tell us about what the portal to the future. Here's the portal to the future. I'm going into it right now. No, that's actually just an empty truck.
It's an evergreen. It's like PTSD from Suez Canal.
Don't you want to move it?
It's very heavy, but,
I know, but
let's.
Ricky's coming.
All right. So can I give you a mini tour?
Yes, please.
Do we get to help move the earth?
We're going to move there. Couple minutes. Okay,
So
couple
on your
minutes.
right, when you enter the portal, you will find electric bikes on display. And in this tent, it's 40 feet long, we will have 4 different electric vehicles. There'll be a John Deere from Mark Fellows in Warwick, who converted a John Deere tractor to electric. We'll have another display over here with an electric cargo bike that was a self-conversion by Brian Nugent in Athol. And then we have the presentation tent, where every hour there's a new presentation. The fellow from Mount Wachusett Community College, wildfire in New England, is it an issue, and things like that. And then we will have Rich Earth Institute and their pea cycling porta potties.
They're from Brattleboro, right?
Yes.
The only reason they haven't been on the show already is that they're from Brattleboro, but pea cycling is so right up our alley. It is exactly what it sounds like.
413-978-802.
We can't. There are rules.
There'll be porta potties behind the Renewable Energy Local Living tent, and there'll be a pea cycling station for people who can stand up and pee. And then there'll be a composting display with Ben Goldberg, and he does composting toilets. Then we'll have batch ice cream, selling the famous garlic ice cream.
Way better than you think it is.
I actually like it. Our plan is to have a table with canning jars, empty canning jars, and you get to spin a wheel, like what are those game shows?
Price is Right.
Price is Right, thank you. If you land on 8, you get 8 little paper hearts, and you get to vote with your heart on what part of the world you love that might disappear. Anyway, no, we won't say that, but there will be butterflies, bees, the Statue of Liberty, things like that. So you can just visualize. We did this once with money, and we're like, let's just get away from money. What do we love? What can we vote for with our hearts? So that's a sort of a kids thing, and families, and spin the wheel. It's a game.
Edie, you gave me an idea for a new game because there's garlic games all weekend. We should do spin the bottle after everyone's eaten a garlic clove.
I love that.
Not this year. Maybe next year.
I love
Maybe
it.
next year because I was up till midnight peeling garlic for the raw garlic eating contest, and I'm not peeling anymore.
That's fair.
So
What are the other
next year.
garlic-related games?
Yeah.
Vampire slaying?
Oh, yeah. No, we've got, you know what? Once I got a call from a Broadway producer, and they gave us tickets to like a vampire type play that we gave out. I remember.
I
There's
think
like so
that's
many
amazing.
stories. There's so many stories. I know.
How can you not?
There's a garlic and egg toss. There's the raw garlic eating contest, which is 3:00 on Saturday. There's garlic sack race. There's tug of garlic. So the idea is just to it's really fun. It happens in the main area and just get, everybody playing and everybody having a good time.
Sunday at noon, there will be a sort of a presentation, but they call it a mixer. They're young people, 16 and 17 years old, 5 of them. They're here to talk about climate change from Gen Z perspective. Like, what can we do? Now, it's not just like...
We don't want to flush the earth down the skibbity toilet.
Right. It's their inheritance. So they'll be mixing us up, in small groups so we can talk about action items. And they are so engaged. The woman that organized it, she has had a booth here since she was 11 years old.
Yeah. Women. She's still only like 17. She's awesome. Seneca Smith.
She's amazing.
She's awesome.
Yeah, she got the Peace Prize from, Trap Rock. And so I'm really excited that that's like, finally, I've been after her for a few years. She's like, no, I'm too busy. I have a booth here. I'm like, no, this is like, it's climate action. Let's go and see. So I can't wait to see what they've put together.
We need to energize more of your peers into being you.
Yeah, as you can see.
Edie points to her gray hair. Stephen is here from CISA, the local hero, folks, and we every week talk with CISA, usually with a farmer, but farms, you're a farmer, Deb. You've trained farmers with Seeds of Solidarity. That's part of the teaching mission of Seeds of Solidarity right down the street from where we are right now in Orange. But what other farms will be represented here at the Gallican Arts Festival?
Yeah, we've got a wonderful couple, Michael and Kara from Free Living Farm in Peter Sam. We've got Jared Duval, who's a really great farmer in New Salem. He and his partner Anna. We've got Tony from Song Sparrow.
Chase Hill Farm from Warwick.
Oh yeah, Chase Hill Farm, Warwick.
Hetty
So
Bell.
that's representing a huge family farm.
Hetty Bell, headed
Hetty
up by
Bell.
the executive director of CISA.
Oh my gosh, how could I have almost not said that? And they were here before they were at CISA, okay? Yeah, so we've got a real mix of mushroom, of veggies, of herbs. Foxtrot Farm is here, and Abby's done these awesome like flyers and posters and banners around climate change that she's been spreading around. So there's some great folks here that are well educated, and I think importantly, many practicing no-till agroecological practices, which is critical, right? We had to build at Seeds of Solidarity. We could not go down into the ground, which ended up being sort of a mixed blessing. We had to learn how and figure out, after having been organic tractor farmers, how to build from the ground up and do it all by hand and no-till and build healthy soil, in order that stores carbon as well, which is a critical part of it. We need to keep pulling the carbon out of the atmosphere and keep it in the ground where it belongs. It's called sequestering carbon. And so these methods, the no-till agroecological methods, are really essential in doing that. I don't know if we're going to be able to move the earth. Is that what you think? You think it's too heavy?
We're going to move the earth. We're going to try. Okay, so
is
here we are.
electron.
Here we are to move the earth.
What is it? Ricky! It's a 6-foot round structure made of rebar.
It's an earth.
And it's
made
earth.
out
And
of
it can
rebar.
spin. It can spin on its axis.
Yeah, it looks like a giant scale globe.
We need to move the earth.
It was originally painted blue, and somebody at a meeting said, let's paint it red, earth on fire. And I'm like, no, let me do it. I got all this.
Then you wouldn't know it's the earth. You'd think it was a red ball.
Right.
It's like, hey, we're moving to Mars.
I spent a day and a half down here painting it what still looks like the earth, with the polar ice cap and a little bit of clouds and fire at the bottom.
At the bottom.
Changing to flame.
Thinking of the global south and the 2/3 world is really on fire. So this is about all of us.
Stephen Taranto from CISA, who is hosting Climate Change and Farming Week. What else is in store besides the North Quabbin Garlic and Arts Festival this Saturday and Sunday for CISA's Climate Week?
This year we have the most events we've ever had, which has been really nice to see a lot of organizations and farms just approaching CISA to host events. This year we have 11 different events. A lot of the events that we have focus on production of food and, how farms are being affected. This evening, we actually have a workshop that is a space where people can come and grieve a little bit, where farmers can come and talk about the way that the impacts of climate change are affecting them, maybe in their outlook on life, because a lot of farmers now, because it's so difficult, are just giving up. And so we have just a facilitator coming in to help folks talk a little bit about the ways that climate change is affecting them and helping them maybe grieve a little bit about how it's affecting their business and the land that farmers love so much. Tomorrow night, UMass, for example, has gotten on board. We now have 3 of the local colleges are involved this year, and UMass is hosting a panel discussion with a bunch of thought leaders from the area working on food security and climate-related ag issues, and they're going to have an all-you-can-eat local food buffet at the dining hall, and then there'll be a panel discussion. And so we're trying working with colleges is something that we've recently started doing because we want to get young people engaged. So there's going to be on Thursday a workshop at Hampshire College where you can see folks who are trying to farm without using tractors as much. We heard about the converted tractor that's going to be here that's becoming emissions from tractors is a huge source for what we're dealing with now. And so the idea of, reducing how much you have to use a tractor for many reasons, it's going to be on display this week. And then Friday, we have a really exciting full day farm crawl where we're going to be visiting 3 different farms in the area that are growing food on trees and shrubs rather than plowing up their land every year. And we wind up the day at Carr's Cider House, where we'll have an open discussion and some cider and pizzas if folks want to stop by for that. And then last but not least, in terms of dates, is the festival here.
And the festival here is the North Quabbin Garlic and Arts Festival. It will happen for the 27th time on the 27th and 28th this coming weekend. Khalees, what time is Extemper, your band, playing on Sunday?
I believe we're playing at 2.
And there's all sorts of other entertainment too.
Yes.
But Khalees's band is the best band. That'll be...
Well, if you're not into weird, loud math rock with fun harmonies, maybe it's not your thing.
Deb, we have a listener who brought up an excellent question because we talk about so many great festivals, etc. If you're in a wheelchair, is the Garlic and Arts Festival navigable, or if you have limited mobility?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. There's a FAQs on the website with a bunch of things around accessibility, no dogs except service dogs, of course. And basically, there's parking right across the street for accessible parking. And then the main field is quite accessible. It's flat. We leave the lanes between booth quite wide and flat. There's an accessible porta potty. And we've made sure there's several food vendors on the main field so that people can access food down here.
Sweet. Okay, Ricky's here to help us move the earth.
So as mentioned, the organizing committee is like 30 people. And then we have all these exhibitors also, and everybody does a part. So we've got Tony from Song Sparrow and Mike Otera and Frank, who makes gorgeous fermentation jugs and is an artist. And also
who taught my son Enzo how to do pottery.
Yeah, and we're going to try moving this globe.
Lift with your legs. 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah. You got this. Back up. Come on. Move.
Thanks again to Deb, Edie, and Stephen for taking us around the grounds. We got into way more of what'll be at the year's festival, and you can check out our full conversation about the North Quabbin Garlic and Arts Festival on our podcast.
And also, I was a little bit wrong. We go on at 2:30 if you want to see Extemper.
Okay,
Do come see us.
2:30 Sunday.
We're fun. We'll chat with Claire Higgins about stepping down and Lev Ben Ezra about stepping up with regards to the leadership at Community Action Pioneer Valley.
But next, pick up a guitar and smell the lemons as Word Nerd Emily Brewster shows us connections between English and Arabic.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
Emily Brewster, resident wordster from Merriam-Webster, our dictionary down the street from the NEPM studios here in Springfield. We are picking your brain once again on all things the English language. And what are we talking about today?
Today we are going to talk about the category of English words that have their roots in Arabic.
Yay!
Ooh, cool.
It's nice to see this in another language because it's really fun to look at the connections between Arabic and Spanish, too.
Yes, definitely.
There's a lot of overlap.
And do you know why?
Because, well, they were the Moorish Peninsula. They were invaded and they were occupied by Moorish forces for ages.
Do you mean the Moops?
I do not.
Who invaded Spain in the 8th century?
That's a joke. The Moors.
Oh, no. I'm so sorry. It's the Moops. The correct answer is the Moops.
Moops? Let me see that. That's not Moops, you jerk. It's Moors. It's a misprint.
I'm sorry, the card says Moops.
The Iberian Peninsula, which includes both Spain and modern Spain and Portugal, were occupied by the Moors from the 8th century until kind of the mid-13th century. My understanding it was actually a pretty peaceful commingling there.
I went to Cordoba last year, and Cordoba is like the epicenter of the idea that, at least for a little while, a bunch of people of different backgrounds and ideologies can get along.
Yeah, pretty much until there were several popes at a time, it was kind of cool there. But that's a gross overgeneralization of Spanish history.
Where does the Arabic language play into our contemporary American English?
in so many words. We have talked many times before about how the basics of the English language, it is basically a Germanic language, and then its major influence is, Latinate, Romantic from the Norman invasion, bringing all that French language into English.
Mm-hmm.
And that is true, but there are actually a bunch of words in English, some very common and cherished words in English that come from Arabic. Now, they mostly come from Arabic via other languages, especially Spanish, because the Spanish language has influenced English because of the proximity that they share and because of all of, the Spanish conquering in this hemisphere.
Right.
Yep.
And then there's also the Arabic language had a lot of influence on medieval Latin, especially. So then we got some words that way also.
So what are some of these words that people might not even realize have an Arabic background?
The word algebra,
Uh-huh.
for example. Here's the weird thing about algebra. It comes from an Arabic word, al-jabr, meaning the bone setting.
Whoa.
No wonder I hated algebra so much. It's painful.
I know. It actually has to do with the idea of reuniting integers in a quadratic equation. This is where the idea comes from.
Wow.
So I think it's really interesting that this, again, as we so often have in the etymology of English words, there's metaphorical application of something in the formation of this word.
That's so
also,
cool.
all of our Arabic numerals, right? All of our numbers,
Right.
Arabic numerals are
Yes.
also from Arabic.
The way
Yep.
we write them is Arabic.
Yes, and a lot of the processes that we started to understand about math in general are of Arabic origin also.
Mm-hmm. But algebra, now I know that the X in all the algebraic equations stands for X-ray because it has to do with bone setting.
Yes, I'm sure that's exactly true. No, that is not exactly true.
Nothing to
That's
do
not
with
exactly true.
axes.
This, I know, will be especially close to your heart, Monty. Both the words coffee and alcohol come from Arabic.
Wait, alcohol comes from Arabic?
It really does.
Ironically.
Yes,
I know that is ironic.
it is. But the word alcohol originally referred to powdered antimony used as eye paint.
Wow.
So, yeah. And when alcohol first appeared in English, it didn't refer to the beverages that we enjoy imbibing, but it referred to powders like kohl, K-O-H-L.
That's what I was
used,
going to
for
say.
your eye makeup. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm like,
Yeah.
it's coal, not like alcohol. It's eyeliner.
It's alcohol. That AL should be a giveaway, maybe.
But the Arabic word was AL-KUHL, alcohol. Now, the word coffee, its Arabic ancestor, which I do not have experience pronouncing these words, but it looks like kahwa, Qahwah. That word could mean either wine or coffee.
I'll go with either.
Is it cool?
I'm not sure.
Cool.
I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's kind of wild, right? That the Arabic word that gave us coffee could also mean wine.
Huh.
Which I think is a very interesting conflation of two very different substances.
Yes. One of which is accepted.
And we still believe in the powerful health benefits of coffee until somebody ruins that part of my life as well.
They've tried and they keep failing. You know?
I mean, it is the middle of the afternoon, so we could go with either coffee or wine at this point. So
That's true.
that
You
Arabic
have
word
choices.
for coffee could mean either around this time of day.
I drink
And if
coffee
we
and I
lived
go to
in
sleep.
Spain, we probably would have been drinking both since about 10 a.m.
Yes.
Oh, yes. That time I did spend in Cordoba. Goodness gracious. I am glad I was only there for a few days. I do not know how I would have survived or how anybody survives with that lifestyle. I had more meats and alcohol and coffee.
But I'm betting you walked more.
We did walk around a lot. Beautiful walled city.
Exercise will do wonders.
What are more Arabic origin stories for our English words, Emily Brewster from Merriam-Webster?
The word lemon.
Lemon.
Lemon is a good one. So is the word sherbet.
Aha.
Yeah.
Really?
Sherbet. It came to English from Arabic via Turkish and Persian. So that was a different route than many of these other words.
So lemon sherbet is extra Arabic.
Extra Arabic. Yes. Also the word candy. The word candy came from Arabic via French, and so did spinach.
Wow.
Whoa.
That's a really hard turn from the candy and sweets and sherbet to spinach. Although
But do you not like spinach?
I love spinach.
Spinach is wonderful.
I
but
like spinach more than candy, to be honest with you.
What is the origin word for spinach?
I will not try to pronounce the origin word, but it is spelled like this. I-S-F, A with a macron, that's a little line over it, N, another A with a macron, and then a K and an H.
Isfanach.
It's I am's what I am's.
I'm strong to bluff spinach, 'cause I eat my spinach.
Yeah, but the medieval Latin word that developed from that Arabic word looks like spinacium, which I appreciate that. I think that's good.
Especially where food words come into play, it's really neat to see how they move because you often see the crops move the same way, like with lemons and limes and things of that nature that weren't necessarily like further out in Europe. They had to be in warm places. But spinach is a fun one because it shows up in all sorts of places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot of food words that it seemed like it come from Arabic and other, beverage words, alcohol, coffee, spinach, lemons, candy, algebra.
Okay, this is a good word for Halloween, which is approaching, as CVS has been telling me for like 6 weeks. Ghoul.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh,
That's
yeah.
a great word.
Yeah, the definition is a legendary evil being that robs graves and feeds on corpses.
Nice.
Ras Al Ghul.
Ras Al Ghul.
But is Ras Al Ghul immortal?
And it comes from an Arabic word that means to seize.
Oh.
Even scarier.
Also the word jinn, D-J-I-N.
Right.
N,
Not
which is
alcohol
also
gin.
Genie.
No.
Right, not that one. Not that one. And also Afrit. Have you ever heard of an Afrit?
Yes, fire demons.
Khalees, this does not surprise me. Of course you have. Of course you have.
I
Yes.
read a lot of genre fiction.
I just learned about it like yesterday. All right, the word magazine.
Whoa.
Do you have any thoughts about the history of the word magazine? The word magazine, it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Haven't really given it much thought. It's just a word that I think about when I think about glossy pages.
Well, like now, especially like in the middle of this conversation, I'm trying to walk back the word magazine and see like what would make it sound more Arabic. Swap out the G for a K, probably, or KH. Like magazine, like something similar. And apologies to anybody who actually speaks Arabic out there. I swear I'm not trying to make fun of your language. It's very beautiful.
Khalees, your attempt at a pronunciation matches pretty well what the word looks like. What looks like a reasonable pronunciation based on what is in the etymology. The word is spelled M-A-K-H-A with a macron Z-I-N. And again, this is in a Roman alphabet, right? This is not what the Arabic letters actually look like. But this is the Romanized transcription. But yeah, I mean, that looks like magazine to me.
Cool.
Yeah.
And did it mean the same thing in Arabic, or did it come?
Did it mean the glossy? The glossy.
Well, something printed. Anything,
I could imagine it being like picture or like something newspaper-y.
Yeah, something periodical.
Have you ever heard of a magazine being associated with weaponry?
Yes.
Yes.
And ammunition?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So that's where it comes from originally. That's
Yeah, the earliest use of the English word referred to a place where goods or supplies are stored. It was a warehouse.
Huh.
And the Arabic word meant storehouse.
So then how do we get all the way to making it into a periodical? Because is it a warehouse of information?
I mean, that's what I was going to go for. It's kind of a storehouse of articles and info and pictures.
Yeah, so it went from being a general storehouse, also took on a meaning of a place where ammunition is stored. Also, then a city viewed as a marketing center. That was another meaning that the word magazine had. Also, a stock of provisions or goods. And then it was in the early 18th century that people started to use the word magazine to refer to something that was a general interest collection of writing. Cool. And that became magazine.
I'm glad it's not strictly the ammunition, that it's a storehouse of things.
Yes.
Right, ammunition being among those things stored.
Information can be ammunition.
That's true.
The word checkmate. The word checkmate is interesting to me because it sounds like such an English word.
Right.
It even sounds, checkmate. It's kind of combined in this way that many of our Germanic-based words are combined. It's got these two very recognizable parts when we put them together, but it is actually from an Arabic phrase. This Arabic phrase comes actually from Persian, and it means the king is left unable to escape.
Wow. That's a lot of information in those two syllables.
Yeah, and those syllables look like S-H-A macron with a macron over H, and then M-A with a macron T.
Oh,
meat.
Shah.
Shamate.
I thought that would have been of Czech origin, but no, it's of Arabic origin.
It's interesting to me. We're talking a little bit about the Arabic language There are two basic kinds of the Arabic language. There's a classic literary Arabic, and that is the language of the Quran, for example. And then there's a modern colloquial Arabic, and some of its dialects are mutually unintelligible. And some people would say that that means that they're distinct languages, because if they're not mutually intelligible, then how can they be dialects of the same language?
Right.
Of course, English has those also. If I hadn't watched Train Spotting with the captions on, I would have no idea what they were saying.
So it comes to the end. They're the last shot, a deciding boy of the whole tournament.
And if you read Chaucer, you might not know what they're saying either.
Right. Middle English
True,
is so
exactly.
different.
Or if you read, ancient Greek versus modern Greek, if you read ancient Hebrew versus modern Hebrew, all of these things can be hard to translate.
But it is one of my favorite things to watch on like TikTok and Instagram, like seeing people from different nations that speak the same language say the thing from their dialect of that language.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Marhaba.
Ahlan.
Aslama.
It's just really cool to see how it varies from place to place.
I totally agree.
Do we have more Arabic that we want to talk about, Emily Brewster?
How about one more? And that is the word barrio.
Oh, wow.
Well,
that's the Spanish again.
If that's the Spanish.
Yeah, but it feels so Spanish, doesn't it? We
Yes.
so closely associate the word barrio, which we define it as a neighborhood in a city or town in the U.S. in which many people who speak Spanish live. But it actually is a word from Arabic.
Really cool.
Whoa.
Brings back to Cordoba again there, where the beautiful neighborhood's there and the people coming together of all different backgrounds and getting along at least for a little while and hanging out and speaking their languages.
Also going to throw out that guitar, too. Guitar is Arabic origin.
Is it?
It is.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Nicely done, Khalees.
You can play the Spanish guitar in the barrio.
And that Arabic word comes ultimately from Greek. Arabic language got it from Greek, and then from Arabic it went to Spanish, and then to French, and then to English.
See, it's like we're all connected as human beings.
We might be.
Well, thank you, Emily Brewster, for elucidating the English language once again via the means of Arabic today. If you have a question for our word nerd who joins us every week, you can send it our way, thefab413@nepm.org.
Oh, Arabic is so pretty.
Shukran, Emily Brewster, which, if I remember my Arabic correctly, means thank you. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you, Monty and Khalees.
Gracias. And now to learn more about the future of Community Action Pioneer Valley from Claire Higgins and Lev Ben Ezra.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Northeast Solar in Hatfield, specializing in solar installations, battery storage, and clean energy solutions tailored to the homes and businesses of Western Massachusetts. Northeast-solar.com.
Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. This past July, the longtime executive director of Community Action Pioneer Valley, Mary Claire Higgins, stepped down after 14 years.
The federally designated anti-poverty agency serving Franklin and Hampshire counties recently announced that Lev Ben Ezra was selected as the organization's new executive director following an extensive search.
Lev Ben Ezra will succeed Claire Higgins, who retired in July after nearly 14 years of distinguished leadership, and Ben Ezra will begin her new role on October 27th. And with us to talk about the shift are the two figures in question, Mary Claire Higgins and Lev Ben Ezra. Welcome
Thanks for
back
joining us.
to the studio, both of you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Congratulations to you both.
Yes.
One of you for not working, and one of you for continuing to work.
For working more.
For working more. People may remember you, Lev, either through this show or just through the community, because you have, for now, how many years been the director of the Amherst Survival Center?
It's true. I'm wrapping up 7 years at the Amherst Survival Center, which has been an amazing journey. And I've said to a number of people that it would have taken something really good or to lead me to move on from that role. But I'm incredibly excited for this next step.
That's a whole new body.
There you go.
Meaning all of your cells. I now can interpret Khalees. She means all of your cells have been replaced over the last 7 years. So you have a whole new body
going into your new job.
as everyone knows.
I wish that was true, Khalees, but in 14 years, I don't have a whole new body. I have like a really beat up old body.
But all of the parts of that beat up old body have been replaced.
But it's like replacing a dented bumper with another dented bumper.
I mean, it happens. I understand.
Maybe they don't get better.
We're going on track.
That is Claire Higgins, who is just recently been the Community Action Director, but who previously was the mayor of Northampton. You were the mayor of Northampton for a shorter period of time than you were the executive director of
Yes, almost
11 years, almost 12, right?
years. Yes.
Which is funny to me because you are still in my mind because you were the mayor of Northampton when I came to the area.
Same.
You're always the mayor of Northampton. I'm surprised you weren't in the preliminary election last week, to be honest. No, I'm just kidding.
I have a really good psychiatrist.
Talk about what you learned as the mayor of Northampton that you brought with you to direct this community action Pioneer Valley. What did you learn on the job leading a city that helped you lead this anti-poverty agency?
So I think that question goes even further back. What did I learn in other jobs that equipped me to be the mayor of Northampton? And you may remember that I started my career as a child care teacher in a community action agency.
That's so nice.
So I came full circle at the end of that. But really, the question about what did I learn when I was a teacher was that we have to meet kids where they are. We have to give them to meet their basic needs, and we have to figure out with them what's next, whatever that thing is. So and with preschoolers, you do that differently than you do with adolescents and with grown-ups, but all those, we're all humans that are trying to figure out our way, right? So as a child care teacher and then a child care program director, I learned a lot about working with other people, but also as I moved up in that world, budgets and so on and so forth. And then when I was the mayor and I was a city councilor for a number of years, I learned about governance, which is a different, it's a different thing as a councilor than it is as the mayor. And then when I was the mayor, I think, was able to stretch my wings in terms of thinking about how all of the pieces fit together in a city, right? It's not just the schools or it's not just the fire department. All those pieces have to fit together to make a quality of life for the people that live there. And that's what I think I learned as mayor. And then coming back to community action, to extrapolate from that, what we are working on is quality of life for people who are living with low incomes in a country that doesn't really worry about the quality of their lives, right? So I think that's what I was able to bring back to community action.
And community action oversees a bunch of different ways to interact with the, with heating assistance and with food access and things like
Start.
And Head Start. So it's multifaceted in the same way, maybe, that you were saying the fire department and the police department and different departments come together to make one organization.
Right. Community action has a lot of different programs, and the programs are driven by an agreement around philosophy about putting people in the center of this, about thinking about access and opportunity for everybody that walks in, and building community with them. Because really, we live in a time and in a country where community is even harder and harder every day for people to find, right? To find their people, right? We're on our phones, or we're in front of our TV, or we're, fragmented in ways that are fundamentally undermining our democracy. But the portfolio of programs can change based on whoever is willing to pay for what.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So we do Head Start. We also do full day, full year early education and care, which is really important for people. That's an underfunded piece of what we do. I met Lev when she was the director of our youth programs at Community Action Pioneer Valley. So doing workforce development and GBLTQIA youth support and leadership development for young people. So but those things start to change as funders say, I'm going to look at this and we want to look at that. We took on the family. We have a family center we've had for many years. It's now also the Family Resource Center in Greenfield that offers services to many families on a bunch of different ways. So fuel assistance and weatherization and heating, healthy homework is something that the agency's grown a portfolio in, and hopefully the funding will continue to be there to do that. We have very old housing stock in Massachusetts, and that kind of investment in people's homes is really important for the quality of their life, right? So.
And the last time we had you on was about the impact of federal cuts.
That's
so this
correct.
Is something that's going not only on a local level, but on a national level as well.
And when we don't know the answers to those things yet, right?
Right. Because it's changing constantly and has been changing all year. It's just been in flux.
Right.
One of the things that, as Claire alluded to, I had the pleasure of getting to work with her as my boss for 7-8 years, I think.
So you're both coming
And-
full circle.
Yeah. And one of the pieces that really struck me that I would say you brought from your earlier chapters of your career to community action was this idea that systems, that government, that organizations are supposed to work for people. And I think you really brought that as a leader, this idea of how do we make this system, whatever the convoluted pieces are that make it come together, how do we make this work for the person that is walking through the door so that when they come, we're able to meet them where they're at and say yes a lot more than we say no, without tying together all of these different resources to help make sure that they're fed and warm and supported and connected in that all important community.
Yeah, it's one of the things where it's like, it's not just assistance, it's simplification of like larger systems that are like Gordian in nature. And so like that as service, just like breaking it down and making it really easy to interact with is a really important part of what Community Action Pioneer Valley does, I think.
And we're part of a larger network. You know, there's community action agencies across the country that do many of the same things we do. I was looking at a speech that Sergeant Shriver, who was the first leader of the agency that now is called the Community Services Agency at the federal level, and he talked about all of these things, thinking about early education, thinking about food, thinking about community initiatives to support youth, et cetera, et cetera. And those things are still there. And what's interesting to me about them, you don't need a diagnosis for them. You don't need to be seen lacking in some way, except for money, right? Like you don't, and so people walk in the door. We're not trying to figure out how to slot them into the right piece on the insurance paperwork, right? We're trying to figure out with them what they think they need to do what's next for them.
We are speaking with the outgoing director of Community Action Pioneer Valley, Mary Claire Higgins, and the incoming new executive director of Community Action Pioneer Valley, currently at the Amherst Survival Center, Lev Ben Ezra. Let's take a little break right here, and we'll continue this conversation to see what Lev might want to do with community action going forward with this organization.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. We are here with the outgoing director of Community Action Pioneer Valley, Claire Higgins, and the incoming director of Community Action Pioneer Valley, Lev Ben Ezra. Who's better than Ezra?
I knew it was going to be Desperately Wanting when you mentioned it.
Yes, so the musical Easter egg for the intros and outros. There is an event tomorrow to celebrate your coming and your going, Lev and Claire respectively, that I will be a part of along with my co-host Kelsey Flynn. I'm honored to do that. That event is sold out, but there is really a movement to try to support the work of community action going forward with getting a jump start from this event tomorrow. The Claire Higgins Fund for Community Resilience. Claire, did you start that fund, or did you just have to accept the fact that they named it after you?
I just have to accept the fact that they named it after me.
Yeah.
How hard is that?
I don't love it. You know what? I do want to note that I was unbelievably fortunate to have known the prior director before me, Jane Sanders, who died before who left before I came on board, and then who died a few years ago. And she really set a tone that I was able to then pick up on around this community focus. And, you know, I think every community action agency wishes they had a fund where there would be money to pay for things or to support to bridge gaps where people don't want to pay for something, right? Like, I mean, it's going to be a stupid example, but you know, if you go in and you're able to weatherize someone's home, but you can't pay for the flashing around the chimney because the funding source won't allow it.
Right.
You know, that's an example. You have a client who needs a suit because they're going to a job interview or whatever, or not all our funding sources will allow us to pay for somebody's learner's permit test, or there's those kinds of things that. We raised money during the pandemic, and it gave us some flexibility around. We saw the power of just having a little bit more flexible money.
Yeah, those unrestricted dollars can go a long way.
And we're not saying to use them for staff necessarily.
Right.
We're really saying this is a client-driven fund to help meet the needs, and it may end up depending on what happens at the federal government level, even helping fill the pantry shelves at the pantry if that's what's necessary.
Right.
It's an ambitious goal of $500,000 by the spring, I believe, but there's already a great start going of $60,000 according to the website, and I'm sure more to come at the event tomorrow evening.
Lev, I'm curious about, so you started at Community Action, and I'm sure when you moved to the Emmer Survival Center, there were some things about Community Action that you weren't necessarily able to do at the Survival Center. What are some things you're looking forward to getting back to being able to provide?
That's such a great question. And I think that in my work with both organizations, what I would say is that Western Mass has an incredible reputation for and well-earned reputation for collaboration between different organizations. And I feel really lucky that I got to learn how to collaborate in Franklin County. There really is a secret sauce that has to do with people coming together to make things happen within a context of less resources and a genuine reliance on real relationships with our colleagues within other organizations. And I think that education on collaboration and those connections is something that I really brought with me to the Emmer Survival Center. And then there was have gotten to be a part of this incredible community effort, serving a smaller region and with a more narrow scope, but that is so reliant on community inputs from so many different avenues, from the volunteers every day to the representatives from other organizations that bring their services to have a one-stop shop access to those resources. And I think that going back to Community Action, I'm excited both to be in a larger organization across a broader region and really being able to have that deeper impact where folks can participate in so many different programs. I actually ran into someone recently that I knew from my time at youth programs, and she was really excited to tell me about the full-time job that she had now working with another local social service agency. And I was able to reflect back on just all of these forks in the road where she had gained this community, or where our programs, Community Actions programs, were the folks that she connected with as she was struggling with a crisis in her life. And that she was able to get food from the food pantry at Community Action. And when she moved into her first apartment, it was kept warm by fuel assistance. And it's that kind of ripple effect and progression through so many aspects of a person's life that I think so deepen the impact that an organization like Community Action can provide. And that includes Community Action's connections to other resources in the area that individual who I got to reconnect with recently also benefited from.
We're speaking with the soon-to-be new Executive Director of Community Action Pioneer Valley, Lev Ben Ezra, and the outgoing Executive Director of Community Action Pioneer Valley, former Mayor of Northampton, Mary Claire Higgins. Were you going to ask me a question, Claire?
But I do want to comment on something.
Yes, please.
If that's permitted.
Absolutely.
Okay, because, I'm retired now.
Yeah.
But, I think it's really important to say sometimes people hear us describe clients who receive this service and this, and they're like, well, why are they so dependent on services? And I'm going to I think it's really important to just say they're dependent on services because the wages aren't high enough to do that on your own. They're dependent on services because the rents are too high. They're dependent on services because we don't have ubiquitous public transportation in Western Massachusetts, which means you could actually take the bus or some other transportation to work. So, and you, person who's thinking about that, rely on them to bag the food that Uber driver is driving to your house,
right,
or to wait on the table that you've come to eat in a restaurant, or to stock the shelves at the store that you just left. So, there's this, and I'm not saying I'm saying there are some people who have this bootstrap mentality that is actually not true
Right.
in this time and place in our country.
And also, some of those people using your services are folks who have gotten raises and no longer qualify for the programs they used to.
That's a really good
The cliff
point.
effect,
That's a
as
really
they
good
call it.
point.
The other thing, too, and I think a lot of people realized this, especially during the pandemic, it put a fine point on it, how close everyone, not everyone, but many people are to needing to rely on heating assistance or some sort of rental assistance or food assistance, many of the things that Community Action
with these
provides.
cuts, we may find out again.
We may find out again. Yeah. Public radio hosts when it got all their public funding cut.
And I think this is such an important thread to weave, is that with an organization like Community Action, as a community, we rely on these services being available for our neighbors, and we have really come to rely on state and federal funding that supports so many of them. And I think at this time, when so much of that at risk, is a time where we are calling out to community and say, this is all of ours, that we want this to be available for our neighbors, we want it to be available for ourselves, and so how do we all come together to help make sure that this is strong moving forward into the future? And that at its core is where the Claire Higgins Resiliency Fund comes in. So we're really looking to the community for that support, for collaboration, for engaging with us to help Community Action move forward through this time.
And once again, that Claire Higgins Fund for Community Resilience is already up and running at communityaction.networkforgood.com. There is an event to celebrate Claire Higgins tomorrow evening that I'm going to co-host with my friend Kelsey Flynn. It's sold out, but there is a waiting list. It should be an excellent time to get to say farewell to Claire and to say hello to Lev Ben Ezra, who will take over that excellent organization, Community Action of the Pioneer Valley. Congratulations to you on your retirement, Claire, and congratulations to you on this new role, Lev Ben Ezra.
Thank you both for having us.
Oh, thanks for coming on the show.
And this is B-52's Planet Claire, if you're keeping track of the Easter eggs.
Also going to say, there's a space on that website to have well wishes for Claire as she goes on to resting.
You can read them sometime when you need to pick me up.
Exactly.
On the next Fabulous 413, we'll explore a new theatrical work about unexpected connections to slavery discovered by a couple in New England and the repercussions that follow when we speak with Janine Haas, Peter Snowd, and Jean Coster about Seeing Violet.
And Professor Usman Power Green joins us to explore Afro-Latin figures and sources for another look at the power of history.
And our weekly chat with U.S. Congressman Jim McGovern. You got a question for the Congressman? Send it our way, and I'll ask him on your behalf. The Fab 413@nepm.org. I'm Monty Belmonte.
I'm Khalees Smith. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Fabulous 413.